Hey y'all, it's Darby Sean. This is another great episode of ETX Rocks featuring Jonathan Terrell.
From the great state of Texas, this is the latest episode of the ETX Rocks Show. Nestled in the piney woods of East Texas, the ETX Rocks Show delivers the stories and songs of talented artists of all genres, all styles, from the unheralded and unheard to the legends and beyond. We bring a passion for music and a drive to go behind the curtain with our guests. We focus on all artists, from LA to New York, Nashville down to Texas, and everywhere in between. ETX is our location, not a limitation. Now, as always, it's viewers and listeners like you out there that are our biggest support for the show. If you want to contribute to the show, please do so by donating to www.paypal.me/ETXRocks. And thank you for tuning in. Wherever you're tuned in, please hit the like, follow, and or subscribe buttons. And now, for another great episode of ETX. Hey guys, Boston Chris here with the ETX Rocks Show, and thank you for tuning in to episode 247. Today we are in Tyler, Texas at the world famous Stanley's Barbecue here on Beckham. I think it's Beckham Avenue in Tyler. We definitely want to thank the folks here at Stanley's for helping us out and setting us up for this great interview. Known across the nation and beyond for digging his heels in and keeping his original sound in the sellout age of country music, Jonathan Terrell brings an eclectic feel to rootsy country, with no skinny jeans in sight. With his third full-length album in the works, Jonathan Terrell is destined to change the landscape of modern country music with a minimalist attitude. If his second album, Past the Lights of Town, is not a major part of your playlist, then you are not a true fan of country music. I'm calling you out there. You need to have this album in your playlist. Guys, we're extremely excited to talk with Jonathan Terrell today for the very first time on the ETX Rock Show. All right, so as promised, we are on location with the ETX Rock Show here at the world-famous Stanley's Barbecue on Beckham Avenue here in Tyler. And we have one heck of an artist in store for y'all out there. If you haven't heard of Jonathan Terrell yet, you guys have quite a treat in store for y'all. And you are going to play a couple of songs for us today. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the first one. This one is my favorite. It's called Little Bird.
Little Bird was kind of a half written by a circumstance I was in, and then half written from like the intro. The beginning of the verse was basically like on this Bob Dylan film that I watched, and it wasn't anything about the film. It was just the scene of like him looking down this stairwell at this girl as she left.
Wow!
And I thought that was a really beautiful way to see something that happened from like a bird's eye view, and then the other half is
And the imagery that you've written into this song is just top notch, man.
Thank you.
There's a line in there talking about her standing in the doorway in the rain.
Yeah.
And two lines of water just collecting at the chin.
Yeah.
Or meeting up at the chin, and it just takes you there, man.
Yeah.
It makes you part of the scene. It's like being a part of the movie, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you do that so well, man.
Thank you.
You're just an amazing songwriter. We're really excited to show you guys this live and unplugged version of Little Bird here from Stanley's famous barbecue in Tyler. And y'all check it out. Don't go anywhere.
All I can do is look at you from the top of the stairs and watch a raindrop at the tips of your hair. You're looking up at me down the ridge of your nose. Not a word to be said, not a stone to be thrown. We stand in perfect silence. I can feel the whole house shift as if the space in between us we're in the belly of a ship. She my precious cargo coming home from a long trip. I don't ask her where she been, don't ask her what she knows. Just as long as my little bird comes home. But she's on again, off again, can't make up her mind. There'll be flowers on my pillow and a note that says she needs some time. So I suck it up and go to work, just like I always do. We used to lay on a leather sofa, smoking cigarettes, and I'd watch her paint for hours. It's the seconds I can't forget. Make love in the mornings with the sunlight in our eyes shining through. I hear her flutter around the wings, and the door gently closes, and I feel it like a wind that my little bird's flown. She heard me break down in the bathroom, slide against the wall. Yeah, she stand behind the door, and I take a breath at all. I don't care about the tears soaked in the floor stone, just as long as my little bird comes home. She's standing in my doorway with the rain coming in, and the tiny streams of water that connect at her chin. There's a pool at her feet, a small red suitcase that's in her hands. She opens up her mouth to find the strength to speak, put her finger to her lips and say, "Baby, it's been 3 weeks, and there's never ever a good excuse for no restless soul." So I hold her like a lover, but I hug her like a dad. Yeah, she has to be the best thing that I've never had. In her eyes tell a story in a perfect tone, and I feel it like a wind in my little bird is home. Yeah, her eyes tell a story inside the globe, and I feel it like a wind that my little bird is home. Yeah, I feel it in my heart that my little bird is home.
Okay, so we are back with Jonathan Terrell, and so this is actually our second take out there. You know, my producer might have hit the button or something like that. So we're going to ask this question again. We keep this organic as possible. Yeah. But you are from East Texas. You have folks in Longview and stuff like that. Been living in Austin for a while. But I've got to hear the story about how you guys ended up back in East Texas, because your folks, you know, they're musicians and really made it big out in Europe.
So my folks were touring, I guess touring you could say. They were living in Europe for about 9 years.
Right.
And they're in the house band of a religious cult that when they started it, it wasn't a cult, but eventually it evolved
morphed
into one. And so they after a little while they came home to re-up their visas and just kind of hid out and stayed here for a while that cult imploded on itself. But they were the house band for the group basically, and so they had there's 7 kids in my family, and they had the 4 older ones overseas, and then I was the first one born back in Texas.
Okay.
But when they moved back, my grandparents lived in Longview. My granddad was a veterinarian for several years in Longview, and so we grew up at his place out there, and I was actually born on that property.
Cool.
Out there in Big Woods.
Nice.
Big Woods, Texas,
and I mean, your folks were folk musicians, right?
Right.
So how much of their influences kind of bled into your songwriting?
It's a weird mix of thirds, I think. Yeah. You know, my dad was really into the Beatles and Jeff Lynne and Tom Petty. And a lot of that, I definitely stick with and love. And my mom was really into like vocal groups and gospel and classical music. But
Wow.
but when I was 9, a guy at church gave me this horse that we couldn't afford, and in order for me to keep this horse, I had to work at a ranch, and I worked there from I was 9 till like 14, and that was kind of where I learned about country music. Was there, the guy that owned the ranch, Gerald Stone. He entered me in all the rodeos every year, and Gladewater Rodeo, and I was in 4-H club and all that stuff. So I kind of learned about country music on my own, which kind of terrified my parents because they're like, hippie folk. Like, my dad's like, well, I mean, he's really into Eric Clapton and stuff like that. So when I come home and I'm like, have you heard about Garth Brooks? They're like, oh Christ, like no.
Stay away.
But so I was mesmerized, and I think after a while, whenever when I started playing music, I was just kind of like, it was like my awkward teen years. Like I wasn't sure what to play, and I didn't know how I was supposed to feel and sound. And I think the older I got, the more confidence about it that I got, and was just like, I can bounce in between these influences, fluidly, and just try to realize what they are as equals, and like how much they attribute to a song, and how much I can pull from from all of those genres. Yeah. And since I'm from here, I still have a thick ass accent, so it's it kind of works out. It's like it all bakes into the same pie.
It's cool to hear that too, because I mean, a lot of times, especially in the 21st century, there's a lot of freedom in independent music where folks can be whoever they want to be now, and be just as successful as anyone else.
Well, I think for a long time people told you had to be a certain way, and like if you got on a if you wanted the right deal and you wanted it to work, and it it had to look and feel like this. And I've had several offers that all wanted to change everything that I did, and I just like sticking it out on my own, and
it's not broken, so why try to fix it?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to have buku's amounts of money behind you to keep that organic.
I mean, it'd be cool, but
of course it would, but I mean, only if they're going to stick by your creativeness and your artistry.
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough, recently to work with some labels that have really supported that, and
Good.
Have been just let me do my thing, and it's just they just kind of package what I'm already doing,
Cool.
So.
Okay, so we talked in the open about Past the Lights of Town, which is honestly one of the coolest albums I've ever listened to.
Thank you.
As part of my research, which is really a tough gig, I have to listen to music, which is okay by me. But I was listening to all three of the things you released. One of them is an EP, Color Me Lucky, which I'll get into as well.
Sure.
That song. But this album, Past the Lights of Town, again, if it's not part of your playlist out there, get on that. I mean, honestly, the songs in this album are like chapters in a book. I mean, everything is so different. Everything has its own feel.
Yeah.
The instrumentation in it is, a lot of it is subtle, but if you're paying attention to that kind of thing, you can see the genius in it.
Yeah.
So I would just love to hear from your perspective, because it was so different than the first project that you did too. Kind of the process behind not only writing the album for that, but also putting it together in the studio.
I originally wrote 26 songs for that record.
Wow.
And I just when we started recording them, I think I recorded like 20. I think I recorded about 20 of those songs, and it took a little while to kind of weed out the ones that weren't talking as loud.
Right.
And but the tricky thing on that was, I worked with a guy named Jason Richard on that, who produced it, and we're still close friends, and he for a while he wanted to fucking kill me because I wasn't crazy about the mix that he did on it, and so I sent it to a friend of mine that lives in Vancouver that mixes like noise and psych bands and stuff, and some kind of like obscure like weird rap and stuff. So I sent it to him to mix, because I wanted a different kind of clarity on there, and also wanted some fresh ears. that weren't necessarily familiar with Texas music.
Right.
And so I recorded that album in 2008 and 9, and right around then my other band, Not in the Face, kind of started getting busy, and that was around the time whenever Red Dirt was exploding, Red Dirt music, and like if you're doing a record like mine, you couldn't catch a gig to save your life. Like nobody would book me at all. And so I said, well, man, this other band's busy as hell. Let's go play some rock and roll for a little while and see what happens. So I shelved that album for 7 years.
Wow.
And it was it tortured me pretty hard.
I can imagine.
And so I leaked a couple songs out, and a friend of mine heard him, and he volunteered to print me all the vinyls, and so I released it on streaming, and then I went to France to do some shows, and I got picked up on a label over there while I was touring, and so then they started bringing me over there to tour in England, France.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of got to a point where when I was playing with Not in the Face, they're like my brothers, my best friends, and but I was like, basically, I'm gonna fucking kill you if I don't put this record out, because it's just like, it was just this little,
I can't imagine
magic
sitting
egg.
on something like that.
Yeah.
That you put your heart and soul in for
but
so long.
But it kind of worked as hard as it was. It kind of worked out too, because I don't feel like. I feel like people were so ready for the Pat Greens, and
and people are listening to different things now.
And they weren't ready for that record. They weren't ready to sit down and like be still with something. It was they're ready to party.
Yeah.
And I like to party in all kinds of ways, but that's my jam. It's like it's like sitting down.
It's a message record.
Yeah, it's like sitting down with a book or something like that. And
so very true. Man.
Yeah.
Good
Thanks
way
for
to
noticing
describe
that.
it. Yeah, for sure.
And so it took a long time, but once it kind of got some legs underneath it, then I knew it was time to get back on it.
Well, I'm glad it made it to the light of day.
Yeah, me too.
Man, what a
me
great
too.
record.
Thank
honestly. We're a big fan of the songwriter, and I mean, you're one of the best we've come across in telling the story in an imagery kind of way, and putting the images into your head. I mean, a lot of times that's not what a songwriter does.
Yeah.
A songwriter, I think a songwriter may gauge their success on whether or not they can make someone feel something, which is important, obviously, but I mean, making that imagery also. There's so many songs out there that don't do that nowadays.
Yeah. I was really lucky. My uncle, he's a Nashville guy. He's a studio vocalist, and so but he does like straight like Nashville country, and so our wheelhouses didn't work together necessarily, but he was always really open to work with me as a sounding board of going like, hey, I wrote this song, why is it not good?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I remember we were sitting at my grandparents' house, and I showed him this song, and he said, okay, I get where you're coming from, and those words literally changed the way I write. And he said, don't tell me about it, paint it for me. And that moment right there, I was like, that's what I'm missing. Those are the things that I'm missing of like, sometimes you can't. Sometimes I don't know how to say it. It's like it's like that saying like I can say it or I can't say it but I can sing it kind of thing.
Right.
And it was like, okay, I might not be able to say everything that's in my heart and my mind about this particular song and this situation, but maybe I can paint you a picture and like tell you where I am, so that way you can step in there with me and look around and you'll understand where you are.
How difficult is that for you to do in a 3-minute span? It's got to be a nightmare.
I mean, I don't know. I think it just
just happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of years. I've been, I did my first show in 2002. So I'm, that's when I decided that I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this.
This is real, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like busking in San Diego, and I had like this epiphany when I was like listening to Tom Petty when I like lost all my money in San Diego, like couldn't get a job, couldn't make any money busking, and so like I called a friend's dad that was a really close friend of mine, and he wired me $200 and put it in the gas tank and drove back to Longview, stopped in Kilgore and enrolled in music classes on the way back. And I was like, okay, I'm doing this. When I told my parents too, I was like, hey, I'm going to be a musician. They were like, cool.
Yeah.
Somebody had to do it in the family, you know. So I feel like I spent a lot of time screwing songs up that I feel like years later I'm gauging them better where sometimes it's emotion and sometimes it's craft.
Right.
And I'm still learning the craft, but now I'm able to tap into the craft a little easier. You know?
You're still learning.
Yeah.
Man.
Every single song that I hear that I like, and I'm like, how they do that? Why did that? Like, why is that incredible?
Right.
Like, what's the math behind that? What's the science behind that?
Wow.
Like, how does that translate to the human brain?
Yeah.
In a subtle way or a hard way? What's the chemistry behind it? And I'm really interested in that.
That's cool to hear you say that, because listening to your music, there are two kinds of songwriters in my opinion, and we've interviewed a lot of folks, but you've got your folks that are writing predominantly within a structure and trying to keep their songs within some sort of frame. And then you have those that just don't care about that. They just want to tell the story, paint a picture, so to speak. And I see different songs of yours that are both. I hear some of your songs that obviously are following some kind of frame or structure, but then there's a lot of songs where you're just letting loose and telling the story how you want to tell the story.
Well, I think that's the most... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, how much, in your mind, how much does that structure matter to you?
It matters when it does.
Yeah.
It matters when it does, because I'm a big fan of pop music. You know,
Okay.
I'm a fan of something that makes you feel good, and the song that makes you feel good is you kind of know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
You know, you feel comfortable in there, so you can let loose with a song while it's happening because you understand the parameters of what's going to happen in the song. And then sometimes it's if I'm not trying to say something that fits in a pop form, maybe I have a different message that needs to be a bit more avant-garde. And then it just depends on like what the song is telling me to do, you know. And that's a big thing that I had to learn by trial and error of, like, whenever I'd work on a song and it just wasn't fitting right and it wasn't sitting right with me, and I'd finish it and be like, this sucks, or it's like it's awkward, or like it's
maybe
weird.
It doesn't suck, it just it feels out of place.
Yeah, it just it feels like it, you know, it feels like all the pieces that are there, but they're just jammed in there wrong, you know.
Right.
And then that's when you have to sit back and look at that song and listen to the song as an entity and say, like, what do you want from me? How do you become the best thing you can be? How do you relax? How do you become focused and streamlined? How do I trim the fat off of you? And then let that song talk back to you as a thing, as your friend, as something that's like
just letting it
you
breathe.
build. Yeah, something that you build. Like if you build a house, you know, it's like you see the angles are weird. You're like, you step back and you're like, how does this settle into place? What do I need to do to fix this to make it feel symmetrical and sexy, and, you know, and just, I mean, above all, music, you know, you want it to feel fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, so.
Man, as an artist, what is your biggest sounding board? Because I imagine a lot of times, you know, when you're being vulnerable in a writing state, that you need to hear some kind of validation in that as well, even if you know that it fits in your own heart and mind. What is your biggest sounding board? Is it fans? Is it what is it?
I think I have so much unrecorded material that I share with like a close group of friends, and I have a pretty hardcore crew of songwriters in Austin that that we share a lot of songs to, and also, you know, it depends on like the record that I'm working on right now. You know, I wrote so many. I wrote about 30 songs for this, and there's going to be, I think we're recording 12, and there's going to be probably 10 on the album. You know, and it's just kind of like sometimes I'll play them out live and I'll watch what the crowd does, and if I see the crowd perk up and like, oh, like, then I know I'm onto something. Then it means I need to play that song with the band for a few more months and let it kind of settle in with the group, you know. But I'm really watching my audience. I'm really watching their body language and how they're receiving a song, and when it feels good for them, then it feels right to me.
Right.
Or whenever I have a songwriter friend that I trust, that that we work together, we're fans of each other. We write together, we hang out. Like, I know he wouldn't like bullshit me, or she wouldn't bullshit me. You know. Right. Then I listen to them, and then they say, oh, I like this part. You kind of lose me on this verse. You could tidy this area up. You know, maybe check your wording on this. And it's not like, you know, it's never an attack with those guys. It's like it's a handsome critique that is well received. You know, because we trust each other, and it's like we want the best for each other, because, you know, what is it? When all the water comes in, all the ships rise. You know, kind of, we rise together.
And it's great to hear you talk about songwriting. You know, like I say a lot. We're very passionate about original music and songwriters in general. But it's so neat to hear the different ways that people create, whether it's music or not. You know, I mean, just the art of creation is so dang interesting to me. And man, you know, you say a lot of things that I haven't heard other people say, and, you know, trying to keep things at the forefront of your mind all the time, whether it's the strategy of watching a crowd or the order of things. All of that is part of your psyche, isn't it?
It is. I mean, like I said, I'll be a student until I die.
Yeah.
And so
it's
like
16 years doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can become complacent so easily. And you just don't allow that of yourself. Right?
I don't want that. And I mean, like, you know, I've worked, like, you know, really hard to kind of, you know, to be on the low totem pole that I am. You know, I've slept on a lot of floors, and I've, like, been in a lot of bad situations to get these songs out and to wrestle these songs and take these songs with me across the world. You know, I've been, you know, it's like, I've played music in, you know, 8 different countries, and and it's just like, how do those songs translate to these people that sometimes don't even speak English, you know? And you've been in Europe, several times. Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, one really awesome compliment this guy told me in France. He said, I don't always know what you say, but the vibe is really cool. I was like, dude, that's the coolest thing anybody ever told me. So, like, awesome. You know, so it means that means you're half the battle is you're getting there. You know, but I mean, I've worked really hard to get these songs across in the right way, and not skimp on my audience, and, like, not, you know, kind of not shortchange them. You know, and not especially above the audience.
And the really cool thing is that that's important to you.
Yeah, it is
awesome.
Above the audience, I'm a servant of my songs,
right.
You know, and if they're not being portrayed in the right in the right way, then they will fail.
Awesome.
You know.
So, man, you know, I talked a little bit earlier about "Color Me Crazy."
Color Me Lucky. Yeah.
Color Me Lucky. Right. And you know, everything about the song is really neat. Even the video for it is amazing. So I want to hear where the mindset came for this song, because the way the video is put out there it's about a daredevil or a motorcycle jumper or whatever. But I mean, as a listener, this song can mean so many different things. How do you do that as a songwriter, just making multiple meanings out of the same content? So
what happened with that song was, I've got a buddy, he's kind of an eccentric friend of mine, and I never really knew what he did, and he invited me to a birthday party. And so I go to his house, and I walk in the door, and I'm like, shit, okay. His job was, he's the largest collector of Evel Knievel memorabilia in the world.
Wow.
So it's like jumpsuits, motorcycles, like everything. He's like, he just opened a museum for all of his stuff in Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting on one of Evil's motorcycles in his living room, and on the gas tank it said "Color Me Lucky." And I looked down, and we're just sitting there like drinking a couple beers, and I was like, "That's a song right there, man." And he goes, "Nobody's ever written that, but if you write it," he's like, "I'll help you get it out." I said, "Okay." So I spent a couple weeks studying Evel Knievel's jumps and like watching documentaries about him, and the whole thing that happens in that song is before he would jump, before he would do the jump, he would go to the very end of the ramp. He would like ride down slow, and he'd sit at the very end of the ramp, and just like he would sit there for probably like 30 seconds to a minute, and it was just like him, the bike, the ramp, no crew. It's just like he's there, and when he'd roll back and then go back, that was like it was game time. And so that whole song is written about that meditation that he takes at the very end of the ramp when it's just him by himself, and he just surveys around what's happening, and he's surveying the land, he's surveying his soul, and he's preparing to do something fantastic or ultimately painful, So it's all about that moment right there in that meditation.
That's amazing, man.
Thanks, man.
And, I mean, just that amount of research for one song that's maybe 4 or 5 minutes long. Is that something you typically do? Like you come up with a hook or an idea? And
Sometimes songs come really quickly, but I mean, I know that song it meant a lot to the person that asked me to write. That I told him, I was like, man, there's a song in there. He's like, you got to do it. And I know how much that legacy means to him, and I really wanted to protect it, and also like deliver something that to my friend that he would be proud of.
Cool. The whistling in it. Yeah, so haunting.
Dude, so that wasn't even actually supposed to happen. This chick has awesome hair. So the whistle part was just when I was in the vocal booth doing the track, like the scratch tracks for it. That's what I wanted the guitar line to do, or a piano line. I was like, I wanted another instrument to do that, and they're like, no, that's it. That's the trick. And I was like, oh, I guess so.
It's killer, man. It's killer.
So it kind of translated to that desert vibe where you could really, because on that EP I wanted it to be a desert driver. I wanted it to be a little road trip, kind of vibe. And I wanted it to kind of capture like driving out through West Texas, and just kind of what that landscape sounds like sonically,
Awesome. So guys, we're sitting here with Jonathan Terrell. This is episode 247, and we're live here at Stanley's Famous Barbecue in Tyler, Texas. I think they have the best barbecue food in East Texas.
Mother Clucker, get out of town. Cadillac style.
And Jonathan plays out here frequently. Well, I wouldn't say frequently.
Probably every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
We just reached out to Jonathan because we have mutual friends that have been on my case for probably a good 8 months. Yeah. Come on, man. Jonathan's going to be in town on this day.
I'm hard to pin down, too, so thank you for grabbing me. Yeah.
So, and Angelica Love over at ETX Brewing has kind of been pushing us a lot. Man,
that's my girl.
You've got to interview Jonathan because you'll be able to pull the stories out of him.
Oh, yeah.
I hope we're doing a good job of that, Angelica, and I want to thank you for pushing me to finally talk with Jonathan. I mean, we've been big fans of yours for a couple of years at least.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Exciting to know that you've been doing this for 16 years.
Yeah.
But we're going to be right back with more from Jonathan Terrell. You guys don't go anywhere because we're going to play a game with Jonathan as well.
All right.
Hey, this is Jeff Grossman from Saints 11. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the ETX.
Okay, so we are back with Jonathan Terrell. This is episode 247, and we're live on location at Stanley's Famous Barbecue where Jonathan is playing tonight. It is March 30th. This will come out April 30th, I think. But, really excited, and thank you guys out there for tuning in all the time. Your support out there means the world to us. And if you've watched the show before, you know that we like to play a game on the show with every guest we have. And today we're going to play Rapid Fire with Jonathan. So the way this game works is I'm just going to shoot 10 questions at you.
All right.
A lot of these will be in like a would you rather circumstance.
Okay.
And you have 90 seconds to answer all of these.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Now, if you don't, what's
To answer all of them?
Yeah. So he has 90 seconds to answer these questions, and if he doesn't, the dragons on his coat will come to life and devour him right here on the spot. It will become part of the menu at Stanley's. So this is rapid fire.
Be pretty salty.
Yeah,
I promise.
I think we both will.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. All right, so this is rapid fire. You ready for this?
Ready.
All right, number one, would you rather act like Mr. Bean at a show or Pee Wee Herman at a funeral?
Ooh, Mr. Bean at a show.
Okay, that would be cool. All right, so what's harder to find, Jimmy Hoffa or MC Hammer's career?
Jimmy Hoffa.
I don't know. That's a tough one. All right, so you can listen to one song for the rest of your life. What is it?
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Be careful because The Impossible is by Joe Nichols.
I listened to The Ocean.
Okay, The Ocean. Very cool.
There
You
go.
an early
Not Billy
bird?
Ocean, but there's a
That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night Owl.
I figured. All right, number 5. Would you rather sell 1 million records or sell 1 million concert tickets?
Records.
Okay.
Because the concert tickets will follow.
I agree. All right, number 6. Would you rather listen to elevator music all day or the Frozen soundtrack all day?
Elevator music.
That's an easy choice.
Yeah.
All right, number 7. Would you rather make an old classic band be current, like right now, or send a current band back to the 60s?
Old classic band be current.
So there's not somebody here today that you would just want to get rid of?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, number 7. Would you rather be in a movie with your favorite actor or record a duet with your favorite singer?
Rather be in a movie.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 8. Cookies or cake?
Cookies.
All right, number 9. Would you rather an indoor concert or an outdoor concert?
I like the outdoor.
Cool. All right, and last one. I think you're fine. The dragons are still
They're sleeping.
2D.
Yeah.
Still two-dimensional. All right, let's see. Would you rather Nickelback or Kenny G?
Kenny G.
That's an easy choice.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Rapid Fire with Jonathan Terrell. Now, guys, we have a huge treat for you all here on the show today. He's going to debut a new song live and unplugged on the show. This is called Big City Blues.
Big City Blues.
Tell us the story behind this one, man.
Well, it's a pretty special song. I wrote this song 3 different times, and I was in Nashville in November, and I had just finished. I'd wanted to I'd never really written too much about East Texas, and I wanted to make a song that I knew my little brother would like. He's a police officer up in Gladewater.
Okay.
And so I wrote this song on a Tuesday. And
This past Tuesday?
no, on a Tuesday,
Oh, on a Tuesday.
in November. I think it was around the 16th or 17th.
Okay.
And I was really excited to show this song to him. And he passed away that week.
Wow.
And I had to we just jumped in the car from Nashville and drove straight here. And so this is a song that I wanted to capture like a lighthearted kind of visualization of the East Texas that I grew up in, and I remember that I know that my friends like kind of relish in, and also the kind of the myth behind, the East Texas has some like mystery to it. It's got like, it's shrouded in
for sure.
in secrets and in between the tall pines, and it's got its own style and its own accent and its own vibe, and I wanted to see if I could capture that.
How do you think you did?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Cool.
But so this is the last song that I wrote before my brother passed away, and it was written to make him happy, and I think that he would have liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, so for the first time, live and unplugged, only here on the ETX Rocks Show, this is Big City Blues by Jonathan Terrell.
top junkies blowing kisses off a motorbike. Petty crime, real time, mama's on the decline. Fish fry on a Friday night. Steel toe, dose of door, rear back and let it go. Back of hand, she yanked around the yam queen. Hemingway and protege, listen up but don't scream. 18 wheels blowing out through the dirty rain, washed in the blood, flushed down the drain. Hard Chevrolet license and a cool prevail. Lean tail fixing a spill into a fairground coon hound. Let me be your rebound. Big city blues, hellbelly blood, sitting on a gold mine under flood. Big city blues, hellbelly blood, ain't nothing in this life for free. It's a fast time, pink wine, baby, make a beeline, fresh baked. Couple skittles, country girls are gonna hate. Hairspray, fingernails, devils in the details. Brass pole, figure eight, your eyes are gonna dilate. Head for the hills, and we can make it down to Mexico. Spanish dictionary in my pocket if you wanna go heavy on the liquor, cocaine pills. I don't remember these thrills. Big city blues, hellbound blood, sitting on the gold mine under a flood. Big city blues, hellbound blood, ain't nothing in this life for me. Yeah, skyscraper, duplex, fever in the architects, long legs, Tex-Mex, wanted for a hot check. Meth lab burning in the sky against the tree line, sneaking on the golf course, party on the pipeline, smoking my lungs, crows on my feet, and the same neon since 1993. We're going heavy on the liquor, cocaine pills. I hope you remember these thrills. Big city blues, hellbound blood, sitting on a gold mine under the flood. Big city blues, hellbound blood, ain't nothing in this life for free. Yeah.
All right, so we are back with Jonathan Terrell. Now, Jonathan, and people are hearing about you for the first time out there. Where can they follow along with your journey on social media?
I'm all over the Instagram right now. You know, that's been my favorite platform. I do, you know, I still have my Facebook. I tweet a little bit, but I'm not on Snapchat.
Okay, thank God.
But I've got a website where you can stalk all my stuff, and it's JonathanTerrellMusic.com, and I'm on all the streaming services. You know, wherever you can. And you can ask Alexa to play some songs of mine. She'll do it. She seems pretty forthcoming.
Alexa is a Jonathan Terrell fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys, I implore you to go to the website, JonathanTerrellMusic.com, because right there on the homepage there, you will find a cover of Mazzy Star's Fade Into You.
Oh, yeah.
That will just drive you bonkers how good that is.
Thank you.
And we really didn't get to talk about that on the show here. Maybe the next time he comes on, we'll delve into that a little bit more. Hopefully you'll come back. And so you guys make sure you're checking them out. It's JonathanTerrell, JonathanTerrellMusic.com. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Instagram is his main jive right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I post all my tour dates and stuff on there, and fashion tips
out there.
Yeah, I'm leaving on Monday to go West Coast. Yeah,
we have a ton of California listeners out there.
Oh, so right on.
You guys, he will be in California.
Yeah.
This month or April.
Yeah, April will be out there. We're doing 2 shows in LA on April 4th and 5th. 4th at Harvard and Stone, and 5th at Hotel Cafe.
So you guys make sure you check it out, Jonathan Terrell, if you're in that neck of the woods. We're here in the Big Pines of East Texas, where Jonathan is from.
Yeah.
And man, thank you so much.
My
for
pleasure.
taking some
I'm going to
time
be back here May 11th to play at the Back Porch in
That's
Kilgore.
Right, Porch Fest.
Porch Fest. I think we're headlining Porch Fest.
Yes,
so
I think you're there on the Friday night, I believe.
Whatever the 11th is.
I think it is.
Oh, it's on my Google
May
calendar.
11th,
I
Porch
promise.
Fest at
Yeah.
the 3-time venue of the year.
Yeah.
In East Texas, the Back Porch. Hopefully we can make it out there.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you guys are tuned into the 247th episode of the ETX Rocks Show. Can't believe we've done that many. June will be 2 years that we've been doing this show, and we feel super blessed to be able to talk to the amazing, talented folks that we get to talk to. If you're watching for the first time, we definitely want you to follow along with us at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're located at ETX Rocks. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. That will help us more than any other thing y'all can do for us. Because the more subs we have, it changes the algorithms in YouTube. And that means more videos in the recommended sections of YouTube. And that helps get more exposure for all the wonderfully talented people we talk to. If you want to donate financially to the ETX Rock Show, we are 100% self-funded. So we have set up a donate link, and you can go to www.paypal.me/ETXRocks, and we'll take anything from $0.10 to $7.99.
$799.
Exactly. Yeah. No decimal point thing.
Yeah.
Anything over 800, we'll take as well, as long as it's in pesos.
That's right. Bitcoins.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bitcoins. I heard one Polish zloty. That's the currency in Poland.
Okay.
Zloty.
Didn't know that one.
Not to be
All right.
confused with slutty,
Yeah.
which is a little bit different. Which is not to say they don't have that in Poland either.
Yeah, I can get down with either one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slotty was you probably need a lot of slotty to be slutty. Possibly. But as we always say on this show, we want to thank you guys out there for always supporting live music of all genres and all styles. And don't ever forget,
ETX Rocks.
that's right.
Howdy, folks. This is Aaron Watson.
This is Bree Bagwell.
This is Jake. And this is Walter from Rocky Queen.
This is Curtis Grimes.
Monty Pittman.
This is Doug Supernon.
I'm Heather Little.
This is Rob Redwine.
Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hey guys, I'm Katie Lynn, and make sure to tune in to ETX Rocks with
Boston Chris.
Hello, y'all. This is Ronnie Millsap, and thanks for tuning in to the ETX Rocks Show.
Tough guy. Ho!
Hey guys, we're Black Top Mojo, and thank you for tuning in to ETX Rocks.